a live call-in show to discuss the guy with the 7 kids with 7 baby mamas. And so I'm just waiting for the link to populate so that we can get this up on the other platforms, and then we're going to go from there. I'm just putting the title in, and then we're waiting for the link to populate. So I'm your host, Tonya TKO. We talk about self-love lessons on this channel. Give me just one moment. The link should be up now. Let me refresh. Oh, man. This is something else. Yep, link is here. All right. So here, let's get this in here. And let's get this. If you want to get a text whenever I go live, just make sure that hey, welcome in, welcome. Make sure that you join the text notification squad. The link is in the description of this and every video. I just sent out the text. And so now I'm going to get the free notifications out on Telegram. And then we're going to go live on every platform. All right, perfect. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get live on every platform. All right. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. And of course, we are live on YouTube. So welcome in, everybody. Welcome. I am your host, Tonya TKO. I am a self-love specialist from TonyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we use viral topics as teachable moments for what self-love looks like in our lives. So what we're going to do is we are going to have a live call-in show. For those of you who were on the last show, you know what it is that we're talking about. We're talking about the guy who is going viral right now for claiming to have 7 baby mothers and 7 children, which is something that I don't believe. To be quite frank with you, I don't believe it. Because he says that if the women were looking for that he's avoiding them and he's not getting in contact with them, blah, blah, blah. Making videos that goes viral if you're trying to keep a low profile. So I don't know. So welcome. I'm going to go ahead and play the I'm going to play the video for you all, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. I'm going to play the video just so that we all know what it is that we're talking about. In the last video, I played a bunch of different things from him. He seems like the type of person who is just really, going to lap in all of this newfound fame and all this other stuff, right? So infamy, fame, whatever. I just, we have gotten into such an attention whoring society that we can't even be sure of what's real or what's not real. You know what I mean? So here, let's take a look at what he said, and then we're going to open up the phone line so that you all can call in.
I got 7 kids and 7 baby mamas. Now, for the past few days, I've been going live telling my story, speaking my truth. And a lot of women having an issue calling me a deadbeat because I tell them I was being irresponsible, not wearing protection. But I always tell these women that I got pregnant that I do not want to be a father to these children. And I offer to pay for the abortion. Majority of times, they'll either take the abortion or they'll take a plan B. But only these 7 have kept these children. But the crazy thing about it is they want me to be responsible for some children I told them I did not want. So for some years now, some of them been trying to get in contact with me, access denied. Because I don't really know why you trying to get in contact with me. I done told you I did not want them kids. So don't expect me to be responsible financially, emotional, spiritually, mentally, or physically with some kids I do not want. And I don't give a fuck Well, nobody think about it. You're not going to force children up on me. Yeah, we both made the decision to lay down and have intercourse. We both was irresponsible about the decisions we made that night. Yeah, I could have pulled out, but I didn't. And I ain't care to pull out because I'm not the one that's going to have to carry a baby for 9 months. It's the woman. In my opinion, women should be more careful on who they sleep with. Because you're going to be like, one of my baby mamas trying to find me so I can financially support a kid I done told her or them I did not want. Another thing is, these just jump offs. These the type of women that I ain't even had to do nothing for. The bare minimum, but they gave me access to their body and they think I want to be a father to a child for one of them? Like, I don't even have no type of love for these women. How do they expect me to love these children? Before y'all say, oh, he irresponsible,
You know, I'm just going to say this, right? I don't know if this man is telling the truth or not, but the fact that he even wants to go viral for something so despicable and attaching that to his face, his image, the likeness of Black men is a travesty, in my opinion. I think that it's an embarrassment of where we are as a society. It's grotesque. It's a lot of different things. And so the fact that this theme, I don't think I've ever seen any other men besides Black men. I've seen a show on Ayanla where one man had 30 children. I saw that they had a show where somebody had, where one man had, I believe, 30 something children, and they were all Black men. I don't recall ever seeing ever any Asian men talking about how they got so many children with so many different women. I've never seen that. I've never seen a white man on these shows talking about the vast number of children that they've created. And so it has happened so much that something like this is believable. It's believable enough for people to be outraged and for him to go viral. I'm going to say part of the reason why I don't personally believe it is because there's just some inconsistencies for me. And when he was like, so basically, this seems like a PSA. It seems like he's playing the part of a no good N word as a PSA for women to look after their bodies and take care of their bodies. He has the wherewithal to be like, oh, be careful with who you lay down with. And he's like, I could have wore a condom, but I didn't care to. And then he's also talking about Plan B, that these women contacted him and let him know that they were pregnant. And he's like, take a Plan B. But it's like, Plan B is something that you take the night after. It's called the morning after pill. You know what I mean? So it's like, then he's talking about all of these abortions. Then he's claiming that these women are rich and all this other stuff. I don't think that, first of all, what rich woman is going to have a baby by him? Like, he doesn't even seem like he has good DNA. Honestly, I'm not, no shade. I mean, I'm sure he's a very lovely person or whatnot, but he doesn't seem like he has good DNA. He seems like he has some unaddressed mental health issues that are undiagnosed, and he's just spewing foolishness all over the internet. Whatever type of upbringing he's come up in, he has a mush mouth and his words are all jumbled together. I don't know what his situation is like behind the scenes, but he doesn't seem to be able to articulate. He doesn't seem to be able to code switch. It seems as if he has one or two codes and just one is worse than the other. He's telling stories about degenerate behavior, giving stink ass dating advice. And so I don't know what type of woman who loves herself would let this type of human being inside of her unprotected. It's very bizarre to me. Um I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just really bizarre. Um it's still is Black women bashing, in my opinion. We don't know what race of woman this person is with because we see a Black man and we automatically associate Black women. But these men, they are not necessarily talking about Black women. I want you all to get it in your mind that these men have their preferences, and there's a lot of, trailer trash white women who are giving these men a chance, women who are undesirable in their own community. And so they give a person like this a chance. So, yeah, here, I'll rewind just a little bit.
These women, how do they expect me to love these children? Before y'all say, oh, he irresponsible, he a deadbeat, he don't take accountability. Yeah, I do. I just don't give a fuck. You ain't gonna force these children on me when I told you I ain't want them. Yeah, I can offer to pay for abortion, but at what point can I force a woman to go get an abortion? I cannot. A woman say, my body, my choice, but I say, it's my life, my choice. Before y'all try to stitch this shit and be like, black men this, black men that, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I got 7 kids and 7 baby mamas.
All
Now for
right,
the
so
past
that's the video right there. Let me open up the phone lines. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this. I said everything I needed to say in the last video. Phone lines are open, 323-488. The number is right here across the screen. And go ahead and send in your apples. I'm going to be checking those in just a moment as well. So here, www.cash.app/$ Tonya TKO. It's a verified Cash App account, so you know you're sending it to the right place. So, yeah, so I want to hear your thoughts on whatever it is. People should go to jail for not paying child support. They do send people to jail for not paying child support, don't they? I thought they did. I thought they did. All right. So, all right. Look, I'm sure people you said that you wanted to talk about this, so I've started up a new show to give you all the opportunity to call in. He said in another video he just finished learning about what a vasectomy is. You're on Your Live with Tonya. What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm Karina and I'm from New York.
Hi, Karina from Newark. Talk to me.
New York. My
Oh, New
bad, New
York.
York.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Tonya. It's sad that that video had to come out like that, but a lot of men think that way. A lot of men move like that.
Yeah.
Um, I can't say he's lying at all because, a man's true nature, they lack empathy. You know what I'm saying? Some men are lucky to have some type of emotion, but most men don't. Whew. I'm glad that you got a hold of this video because I saw that video last night and I was like, whoa, like this man really came out and said all this online. He got 7 people out there in the world who are going to have a sense of abandonment internalized in them because he doesn't want to be a father to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is very despicable. It's disgusting. And as I watched the last live, and you showed a couple of his videos on his timeline. I really don't do TikTok and all that good stuff, whatever that stuff, because it just I'm too old. I'm too old, and my brain is just like I can't deal with the younger generation and their nonsense of their freedom of speech, and they just say too much. But I know I'm really disgusted by this. If he was my brother, I probably would have beat him with a baseball bat. Just because it's just like, how do you have intercourse with a woman and then knowing that you have the power to conceive You know what I'm saying? A woman can't have a kid on their own. You know what I'm saying? And you just decided to say, okay, I'm a stick my peen in you raw, and then if you get pregnant, you on your own. I don't want to be a father. Like
Mm.
what? What? I'd have looked at that man. I'd have got out that car so fast. I'd have ran. Oof.
Mm. Yeah,
Like
well, Karina, thank you so much for calling in and giving your opinion. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good night.
All right. All right. Phone lines are open 323-488-3149. Phone lines are open. I'm just getting your points of view about this whole situation. 323-488-3149. Yeah, so I'm curious about what it is that your thoughts are on this. People are praying that it's a skit. Let's see. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, I'm Seba. I'm calling from Georgia, and originally I'm from Sudan, which is in East Africa.
Oh,
And
hi. I'm sorry,
the reason,
but the phone cut out. So make sure that you're talking to me directly in the phone, that there's no headsets and stuff in the way, because the connection, I'm not hearing a really great connection.
oh, I'm so sorry. I think, is this better or is it still cutting off?
Okay, so yeah, so let's start again. What's your name and where you calling in from?
Yeah, I'm Seba. I am from Atlanta, Georgia, but originally I'm from Sudan, which is in East Africa.
Okay,
And
so welcome,
the reason
welcome,
I'm
Seba.
calling, yes, and the reason I'm calling is because it's just making the black man look bad. It's like every time I say, okay, Black people are getting educated. Black people want to get in touch with their roots in Africa. Black people want to improve, want to be better. It's just making it look bad, and I don't like that. But it's the truth. It's like other races, even us as Africans, we because what not just the media, but what's going on is like why African American are leaving their families. This is not African heritage and culture if they want to go back to the African roots. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just because the nature is the man to take care of the family, and it's just I don't like this look for them, but unfortunately it's just they do this to
Is
themselves.
it the nature of the man to look after the family?
For example, in my culture, yes, and for example, let's say if a man is not taking care of their kids, oh no, they're gonna have a meeting about it. The whole tribe, the family, be like, "What's wrong with you? Why you're not providing for your kids? Even you're married or not married, divorced, not divorced, you're supposed to take care. I mean, parents are. I mean, it's a partnership. You're supposed to take care of your kids
So
naturally,
so
even if you
so
have less money or more
so
money.
Seba, let me ask you some questions. So you're
Sure.
saying that in Sudan, well, how old were you when you left Sudan?
Yeah, I came here. Let me tell you, I came here when I was 7 months old, like a child. But I still, although I am American, but I still live in a household where I preserve my culture. So I
Right.
know both
So
cultures.
if you came here at 7 months, then you don't know adult business in Sudan.
Well, I do go like over the summer. I lived there for 5 years, and I go back for 10 years. So it's not like I live all my life here. Most of my life also was there,
So
so I kind
so
of go between back and forth.
okay. So when did you spend the 10 years there? How old were you? Between what ages?
I was from 8 until about 18. I came here to study college.
Okay, so from 8 to 18, you were in Sudan. So an
Mhm.
18-year-old is not in adult business. At 18 years old, you're still a young lady. And
Mhm.
I would be interested in finding out on the ground what is happening,
Mhm.
with, uncle's marriage, where
Mhm.
uncle is out there having an affair and producing children.
Mhm.
But the children, young people don't know about that, but the adults know. I would be interested. Is you so it's late now in Atlanta, so I would love for you to just contact your mother and get back with us about what the adult men were doing in the family, because they may have additional families that we don't know of, because we
Sure.
just, you know what I mean? So I would be interested in
And
really
it's
kind of
embarrassing
circling
in our
back
culture.
around.
Like if we find out a man left the family, let's say he married, let's say because we have polygamy, and he's not even taking care of, it's an it's not good. It's just not good. So anyway, but thank you. Appreciate it. I'll let others call in.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate you calling in as well.
Yes.
So thank you for that
Okay.
perspective. All
All right.
right.
All right.
I definitely am interested in finding out from the adults in a culture what is really going on, because a younger person's point of view may not have the full story, because there were so many people who thought grandma's marriage was so wonderful, and then come to find out grandpa, it was a lot going on. All right, you're on your live with Tanya. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, I'm Amanda calling in from Atlanta.
Hey, Amanda from Atlanta, talk to us.
So I was calling in because I wanted to make a point about the video,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to say this. It's always interesting, these men, they get online, they say these things about, oh, women, I'll give her the money for the abortion. These guys, they don't say this stuff beforehand. They don't say this when you're talking to them, when they're trying to date you and pursue you. I had a friend, she was in a situation like that where the guy, he completely changed. It's like everybody doesn't want to go to the abortion clinic. Everyone doesn't want to make that decision. And it's like men want to penalize people for making decisions, but they don't tell you before you lay down with them. They don't, this guy, I'm sure he's not going in the bedroom with women and he's telling them that. Like, oh yeah, if you get pregnant tonight, oh yeah, I'm done with you. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. And I think that it's crazy that they're continuing to go online and bash and bash and bash women for these decisions when they're not telling the full story. A lot of these guys, they're reeling you in, they're bringing you in with all the promises, they're saying different stuff. They're not telling the truth. It's like, tell the full story. Don't have a clip online and then don't say how you were heavily pursuing this woman before she became pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I just wanted to add that part because I feel like they're just constantly saying these things that are just, they're not telling the full story of being somebody.
Well,
I'm
let me
34.
well, let's talk about
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
I I find it very hard to believe, right? And that's
Mhm.
just me. So, I'm just one person. I just find it very hard to believe that there are no indications that this person is a dirtbag. He's talking about having intercourse, um, first night, only paying for 2 dates. He is showing through his actions he's dirtbaggy.
Yeah.
Especially a person like that. And then you said your friend had become impregnated by somebody like that. Is that what you said?
I mean, just like in a situation that's very similar with someone who was a liar. I'm not gonna say she wasn't there. There's no ownership for women. I don't want to say that because then that would just be unfair, to put 100% blame. But I feel like some of these guys they're Casanovas to the point where they're not completely just like coming in. Oh, they're taking somebody on 2 dates and having sex with them. Some of them are lying about that online. They're having more time with these women. There was a story that you did a while ago, and he was the New Orleans guy, and he had TikToks, and he was exposed for having several children and stuff like that. But the women, he went after nurses or something like that. He was, he had a thing for pursuing nurses, and those women, they were nurses. They were dating this guy. He was dating them for a while before he had impregnated them. They didn't even, all the people didn't know about each other. I'm saying these guys, I don't want to completely say it's the women, but they're putting in more work to get these women than just 2 dates, and they're just all getting pregnant is what I'm trying to say. Like, they're not all just getting pregnant after 2 dates with these men not doing anything. Some of them are wolves in sheep's clothing. I'm not saying, and every woman is not the same that has the same, information, that like maybe experience that other people have. We don't all have the same experiences, like
Mm-hmm.
as far as where we're able to have the same level of discernment. My dad, he was Guyanese, he's from the Caribbean. I feel like he was in the picture, you know. I had that guidance from him. I was able to have levels of discernment that he was able to give me. My friend, forgive her, she didn't have that same, discernment. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have that same thing growing up. And I don't fault her for that. You know, the person they did give, maybe there were things that I would, as a friend be like, yeah, that's, I wouldn't really rock with that. That's shady behavior. But there were other parts where she was so hopeful and trying to believe what this person said. They don't give the full story online. It's just what I was trying to kind of like come and just express, if I could. That sometimes they'll come online and just make it like all the women are just stupid, like, oh, they should have just knew better. They should have just chose better. And then as women, we all like kind of get on that thing where then we look at women like, oh, you're all stupid because you should have looked at him and knew from jump that he wasn't that. And I feel like sometimes they don't present that to you, Tonya. And I'm a huge fan of yours. I love the show. I watch it all the time. I send my cash apples. I'm going to send one tonight. And I appreciate what you're doing. The self-love lessons, they've helped me a lot. I appreciate the dialogue and the conversation that we're able to have as women, because it's
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult to navigate these streets, these dating streets. And if you're somebody who wants love and you're pursuing it out here, it's extremely difficult to navigate it because it's so murky and people are so different now, and it's so hard to try to sift through and see that authenticity. But, ladies, I hope we continue to support each other, have channels like this that we can support each other and come out and love one another. And, hopefully we will find what we're looking for, love or otherwise, and I love what you're doing. And, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, well, before you go, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So let's flesh this out just a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Now, there's two different things. Two different things. So one, right? So this guy,
Mhm.
he doesn't seem to have great command of the English language. That's one, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
he's
that's very
he,
true.
he's out he's fighting for his life in terms of even trying to articulate, right,
Mhm.
cohesively. And he is very rough around the edges, right?
Mhm.
Um I find, especially in a situation like this with this guy, right? Like you said, people can do switcheroos, right? This is why I think it's important for us to sit back, observe, ask questions, look, listen, pay attention. That's one, right? Two is, as a woman, you have to know what it is that you're willing to do and not to do if worse comes to worse. Like if you're the type of woman who is going to be out here on some, I'm gonna take a chance and see what happens. I don't really know this guy. I'm hoping for love, etc. Right? If worse comes to
Mhm.
worse and a pregnancy happens, what is it that you are going to do? Is this the type of person that you want in your life for the rest of your life? Do you want this person's children in your family tree? And it's like, as a woman, right? Now, I can't tell any woman out there what to do with her body in terms of whether or not she's going to have intercourse on the first date or the 10th date or whatever the case may be, right? But one thing I do know is that if you about that life, you're going to have to be all the way about that life, and you're going to have to be okay with an abortion. You're going to
Mm.
if you are all right with having intercourse with people that you don't know and you know that you don't want to carry their child full term, then if you are going to be about that casual sex life or that sex with somebody that I don't know very well life, then you also, the flip side of that is doing what it is that you need to do so that you are not tethered to this casual sex partner or situationship or this bum, this air mattress, this you just have to know what it is, what life it is that you're living. What are
Yeah,
you
and
doing?
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I have to, because single motherhood, seeing it from people that it's very difficult. I don't have children myself, but supporting people through it is very hard. And these women, we have to do it. I mean, once you make that decision, that is not it's not, my mom is still doing things for me and I'm 34. That's a lifelong commitment. And then you're not going to get help from this guy and then he's going to go online. It's painful. You know what I'm saying? It's hard that our community has that level because now there's 7 children that are gonna they're gonna have to experience so much. That's the part that's really, there are gonna be 7 kids that are gonna grow up and they're gonna see that that's their bum dad, that's saying this stuff online, that didn't want them, that didn't care about them, that told them you're a mistake, we don't care about you. It's like so many lives are affected by that, and being someone that sees it, it's hard because these children, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. They deserve better. And I'm praying that we do better because, as what you do on this show, you help so many women. And I hear men call in and they talk, sometimes they say something, but for the most part, they're clueless. And then I'm like, man, the women are waking up. We're getting it, the rise of the feminine, everything. But then it's like, there are no counterpart. Where are the men and the counterparts for us? Like they're online creating 7 bastard situations and bragging about it. That's the choices that we have to choose from. And as a man, men should be embarrassed that representation is continually perpetuated online constantly. It's disgusting. It's like, that's the representation that we're going to have. That's what we're going to be. That's the legacy that people are going to see, is that you're proud that you broke all these women and created these children that have these messed up situations and women that have to try so hard. You're proud of that as a man. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
glad he put his face out there. I'm glad that he put his face out there so all the women can see. Don't, if you touch him, you know what I'm saying? Don't touch him. Don't come near him. Let men like that continue to put their face out there. And, they need to continue to create some type of website where we can just expose. I don't know. It's like, sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like we need a website where we could just expose them and just put all the information out there. So we had a network where we could just be like bums.com.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Tonya.
All right. Well,
Keep doing
thank
what you're
you.
doing.
Thank you.
I'll get back in the comments. Thank you so much.
All right.
Take
Thank
the next
you.
call.
Thank
Love you
you.
so much. Bye.
All right. So let's talk about something real quick. There's somebody who
Oh,
commented earlier. I saw the comment pass by. She was like, not every woman wants to have an abortion, this, that, and the other. Every woman who is engaged in casual sex with a person who she has not gotten to the stage of marriage with, you have to know, as a woman, as a womb holder, as a keeper of the womb, you have to know what it is that you are willing to do and not to do in the in tandem with that casual sex, right? So, are you willing to have a child from a person? Are you willing to go full term? Are you just looking for some miscellaneous sperm so that you can have a baby? Are you ready to have a baby? If worse comes to worse, these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. If worse comes to worse, what are you prepared to do? Are you prepared to go full term? And I saw somebody say that being a single parent is not that hard. Tony, I don't know what it is that you're doing and how it is that you're doing it, but or what your age is or your resource level, but being a single parent definitely has challenges even in the best of circumstances. As a single parent, you can't even go to the bathroom by yourself. You can't go to the bathroom. You don't have anybody to pick up the child from school if you got to work late. There's a lot of challenges that comes with being the sole caretaker to a child. There's a lot of challenges that come with it, and to say that it's not that hard is, I think that's I don't know. I don't know. Everybody does things at a different level. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to dive deeper into that. Phone lines are back open, 323-488-3149. I want to hear your point of view on this whole 7 kids, 7, this whole situation. Let's hear your point of view. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name and where you calling from?
Oh, hi. My name's Kamisha, and I'm calling from Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, I need you to turn down the TV or whatever it is playing in the background so that
Oh,
there's no echo.
that's you. Hold on for just a second. Let me pause it.
This whole situation. Let's hear your point of view.
Can you still hear me right now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. Yes, so I was just listening to your video, and I just wanted to say, it's like, I just wanted to tell all the women to be really careful with a lot of the guys out here, because they just don't care about our bodies like that. They rather be reckless with us and not care. And it's just, it's sad, because I see a lot of guys that comment sometimes, and they want to be the leader of things, and they can't even be a leader of a household. They don't have self-control over their bodies, and they want to just like go out here and just be reckless with everyone that they get in contact with.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Well, that's your whole
There's times when I
observation.
okay.
No, go ahead. I was asking if that was your entire observation.
No, didn't not. Well, yes, that, and then just like there's times when if I'm meeting somebody, if I'm meeting a guy, I try to ask a bunch of questions. Like, I need to know who you are. Like, do you have kids? How do you treat your kids? Do you have a positive relationship with with your child's mother? Like, I need to know all these things if I'm
What
going to
if
be
they lie
intimate
and
with
say,
you
what if they
in that
lie and say
space?
they have no children? What if they're like, no, I'm single, I had no kids?
Well, and that's still going to be questions of, hey, I need to know your family line. I need to know a lot of things about you if I'm going to be laying in a bed with you. I mean, I think that's probably why I'm single now, because it's like I like to ask you questions, and some guys probably don't bother, and I'm okay with that. I'd rather be safe than be in situations and drama that they bring in people's life. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
And it's just really important for us to just be careful. And like the last caller that mentioned about, there should be something on the list that we could put in and say, hey, like if you don't care about the person's body, there's HIV, AIDS, all this stuff going on in the world right now, and you rather just, not have unprotected sex and it's totally okay. Like, no, and then bring child in as well, and you don't even care about that child, but you want to be running somebody else's household. You want to be the leader of something like that. That doesn't add up to me at all.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. Well, thank you so much for calling in and giving your point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Let me grab these apples real quick. It looks like, all right, so we got, okay, so Shanti, these came in at the end of the last broadcast. Shanti sends $2. Paula, she sends the knockout heart. Jessica sends justice for Princess Lard, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, well, Google the name so that you all can see. what is going on with that. And I'm so tired here. Let me see if we can muster. Let's see if we can muster some energies right now. Let's see if we can muster some here. Here we go. Here. It looks like Steve is back in the building. Even though it seems like the crypto market is down, Steve is back. Well, thank you. Welcome back, Steve. Welcome. Welcome back. I tried my best to dance. I'm just so tired. Thank you, Steve. Let me see if I can find some dancing. Let me at least put a dancing emoji here. There we go. All right. Raquel sends $2 and says, learning lessons from your videos. Are you? What lesson? I want to know what lessons you all are learning. Amanda sends $2 and says, thanks. This was a powerful live. Was it? I'm glad that you all are feeling that. Thank you. I would love to know what it is that you all are learning, because I feel like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm not really getting across what it is that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? All right. So phone lines are back open. 323-488-3149. We're talking about the guy who claims to have 7 children with 7 women. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like a lot of people do and say a lot of different things to go viral, and I'm feeling like this is one of those. I don't know. I guess I'm in the minority. I guess there's a lot of people who believe what it is that he's saying. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Rachel, and I'm calling from Chicago.
All right, Rachel from Chicago, talk to me. What's your comment this evening?
Okay, so I've been watching a lot, and like I'm a single mom of a 15-year-old girl, and I think a light bulb went off in my head today, where I realized that in the Black community we're not really talking to our kids on how to build effective relationships and how to date at a very young age. And so from what I've witnessed, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, but what I've witnessed is that a lot of our kids are sheltered, where we kind of shame them for being interested in boys or interested in girls and things like that. And we don't really talk to them in those young hormonal ages. So then when they get to their 20s, they act like they're in middle school or high school, where they're very hormonal, but they're in the childbearing age. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like there was no teaching about sexual responsibility, self-control, self-governance, how to respect oneself and others, how to build effective relationships. And I thought I was a little bit off, because I'm like, well, am I the only one that's like thinking about this? And so I had looked at some therapy, like teen therapy, online videos and like content. And honestly, like psychologists are talking about this, where they're saying you have to teach your children when they're in that preteen stage, they get to 12, 13, or 14 years old, like how to date. And I realized that a lot of Black families don't teach our kids how to date at all. We don't. Yeah. We just think it's a taboo subject. We don't let our daughters, wear makeup. We don't let our daughters get dressed up. We don't really we teach them that grooming ourselves and being beautiful, being attractive,
being interested in boys or being interested in girls, you know, if you're a boy, is that it's something to be shamed, that we shouldn't talk about it, you know? And so the kids are not really, they really don't have any guidance. And they're just, as they get through to into their 20s, now you have a bunch of people who are emotionally immature. They're not emotionally savvy at all, and they're interacting with each other as adults, but they don't know how to interact with each other. Like, they don't know what standards are. They don't know what boundaries are. So I made it a point for myself, like I said, since my daughter is 15, and I'm in a more so like predominantly white neighborhood, more affluent neighborhood, and as I attend all of my daughter's events, because I go to every single event that she goes to, that she has, and I'm sitting there, you know, in the bleachers, or I'm sitting there in the auditorium, and I'm conversing with her, you know, the parents of her friends and things like that. I noticed that, like, their parents are letting their daughters and their sons date as a freshman, as a sophomore. And I was like, what? Like, what are you, like, that's a big no-no. Like, you don't let your kids date, you know? But what I noticed is that they're teaching their kids how to build effective relationships, you know? So when and teaching them, like, self-discipline, sex discipline, like sexual responsibility. And I don't think Black people, like, I don't think we're teaching that at all. We're just kind of letting them go.
Yeah. I feel you on that. And so you said you had an epiphany. What was it that made you tie those thoughts together during this broadcast?
Well, you know, you had brought up the question, you know, what was the self-love lesson that you learned? And so I realized that I want to teach my daughter how to love herself effectively, like just being, just raising your daughter and saying, okay, well, I'm going to give you the best education. I'm going to put you in a safe environment. I'm going to do all this. Like, that's not enough. Like, you have to still guide them through their teenage years. It doesn't stop. So that was my, you know, the light bulb kind of went off today, because at first I was thinking, like, I don't want her to date anybody. I just, you know, I want her to go to 18, and then when she goes away to college, she'll date. But then I thought about it, like, why would I want her first love, her first breakup, her first, her first experience with the relationship to be away from me? Wouldn't I want her to be in high school when that happens, so that I can be there physically and give her the support and the guidance, you know, when she's younger, not wait until she's an adult and then say, well, you know, expect for her to be able to figure that out.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the pitfall for many people, is that 18, these kids are going away to college, and by then, you know, they have no dating experience, and then what do you do then? Really great food for thought. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, bye.
All right. So yeah, so that's very interesting, and I'm curious to see how we create changes. You know, I hear that this happens a lot with people who come from, you know, conservative backgrounds, like in some African families, that you are expected to, you know, stay unaware of all of those things until you're like 20, and then they're like, oh, when are you getting married? And, you know, then you're 25, and they're like, where's the grandchildren, where's the relationship? But you're just really getting started, just trying to figure things out. You're live with Tonya. What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm Natty. I'm from Florida.
Hi, you said your name is Letty and you're calling from Florida?
No, Natty.
Natty? Okay, welcome in, Natty. So what is your comment this evening?
So I hopped on some minutes ago and I only heard the last part of the last video of the man. I just wanted to say I've heard this argument before about how since women have the choice to have the baby or not, they should have the choice to be there or not, like the man. And that argument mostly comes from men, like that guy in the video. The thing is, when the woman chooses to abort the baby doesn't suffer the loss of a father or a mother figure. In the case where the father is absent, the baby suffers because the baby is born. I had spoke to this one dude about this once, and he told me he knows plenty of single mothers in his family and friends who are doing very well. A bunch of anecdotal stuff, and that doesn't beat the facts or the stats. Children from single parent households are more prone to experience emotional and behavioral health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's dumb logic. That's causing these men to not step up to the plate, so they don't care how many babies they make.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's true. And the unfortunate part about it is that we have a lot of people who are making videos like this and who are expressing sentiments like this, and they're having an effect on the younger generations. How old are you, Natty?
I'm 23.
All right, so you're 23, and so you're hearing, what is it like among your peer group now? What are the boys, the young men talking about?
Um, Honestly, it's just like hookup culture. It's just, I mean, like I feel like a lot of my um like my female peers, like they kind of, it's like half and half. I see a lot of them engaging in hookup culture, and then the other half is just like, this isn't benefiting me. Like they want to, but they're just like, nah, like I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah, yeah. Are you dating now?
No, I'm not.
How are you have you ever had a boyfriend?
I did in high school, but I don't know if that counts. Like it was pretty long, but like I didn't. Um, yeah, I don't know if that counts.
Okay. So if you were to meet a guy nowadays, what is the dating situation like?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
So like if you meet a guy nowadays, what is the like how does it go down? You meet a person, you talk, and then what are the conversations like? What is the expectation like? How does it go?
I wouldn't know because I haven't dated in a long time. It's like the last time I was in the scene basically was in high school, like I said. So I wouldn't know. I kind of like ever since my that experience, I kind of like steered away from dating. Not that I'm um like choosing to avoid it forever, but I'm just not in the right state of mind.
Okay. Okay. So you said that your last boyfriend, or that you had a boyfriend and it was in high school. And so dating and having a boyfriend are different things. So dating is when you meet people, you go out, you go on dates, you talk to people, you get to know people and stuff like that. But once you progress into, being, monogamous with each other, that's when that person becomes your boyfriend and you become their girlfriend, etc. So dating and actually having a boyfriend, girlfriend are different things. Dating is the process of going out, getting to know people, talking to people, kind of weeding through. And you're saying that you're not meeting young men at all.
Yeah, not now.
What was so traumatic about the experience in high school that made you decide that you just were not going to even meet young men anymore?
Well, I have a lot of trust issues, and it was weird. Like I saw a lot of characteristics in the person that they shared with my father, and they weren't good. Like I don't know. At
Mm,
first, it was all good, and then things just started getting like um I guess toxic. I guess like
mm.
and when I saw that, I don't know, my trust issues. Like I had trust issues already, but then they kind of got worse.
Okay. Okay.
So
Have you thought about
I had
seeing a
the best.
therapist?
Oh, I'm actually going to see one soon.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Well, you know what? Keep me up to date on how that goes. You can send me a message on my website, but definitely have to work through the childhood issues, and it's great that you're going, you know, now at this stage in your life so that you can start creating a shift into healthfulness so that you can have a healthy relationship with yourself, and that way you bring in healthy relationships. I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I wanted to make another point.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had saw someone say in the live chat, people can't teach what they don't know. Like they were responding to the last lady that had called, and that was explaining how parents need to teach their kids how to build effective relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, not all parents will have this step by step, but they can teach them what not to do. Like, if parents are willing to admit what they struggle with in relationships and own up to mistakes, there's learning in that for them and the children.
You know, I was just thinking about this earlier today because I happened to very recently get a motherly figure in my life, right? Because my mother died when I was a teenager, so I really had to navigate through my teens and my 20s, just on my own, just really trying to figure things out, right? And so
Mhm.
I was really thankful of this motherly figure who has come into my life recently, and I was going to send her a text message today, just really just kind of thanking her for holding space, right? And when I was thinking of what to write in this text, I really wasn't really sure how to go about putting it because she is not much older than some friends and associates that I've met, right?
Mhm.
But some of the people that I have spoken to who are like I worked as a psychic reader on this really popular psychic line for some time because I'm intuitive, right? And
Mhm.
a woman called in who was in her 70s who was still having the same issues she was having in her 30s. And so it's like when we talk about parents, teaching children what not to do, I know from personal experience that there are people in their 70s, in their 60s, in their 50s who do not know what to do. They are out here fighting for their life in these damn dating streets as well. These people, listen, there is no, let me tell you, Natty, there is no guarantee that at some age there's going to be some sort of wisdom and insight. It really takes doing the hard work. It really takes diving inside of yourself, looking at yourself, paying attention to your patterns and habits, asking yourself questions. It really, really, really takes that. And not everybody is willing to do that. Not everybody has done that. So some parents may not, some mothers and daughters are having the same damn dating issues. I kid you not. Some mothers and daughters are having the same issues. The same
Yeah.
issues. And so it really, we just have to do the work. So congratulations on doing the work so that you can be a force to be reckoned with by the time you're 40. You will have all of this stuff under wraps. You got to go out there. You got to do the healing. You got to do your trial and error. You got to figure out what your triggers are. You got to figure out what your patterns are. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much, Natty, for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Yeah. So, oh, I'm going to check the apples after this call. You're on your live with Tonya. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Stephanie. I'm calling from Virginia.
Hey, Stephanie from Virginia. Turn down the TV or whatnot in the background, please.
I did.
Okay, wonderful. So talk to us. Talk to us. What's your comment about this whole evening, about anything?
Well, when we talk about the gentleman who has the 7 kids by the 7
Mm-hmm.
different women, what
Yeah.
I've noticed, I'm a labor delivery nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and what I've noticed is a lot of times in Black families, we don't make the men responsible. I remember growing up in New York, and anytime, someone, if they had a daughter, and if they had a son, and a girl came and said, "Hey, I'm pregnant," it was always, well, that's her mother's problem. It was never the boy's problem too. So what I've noticed is when you do that, you don't let him know that he is as responsible for that baby as she is. And as a labor and delivery nurse, I notice it a lot when I see these young Black
kids have children, that they're just there. The men are there as like it's some type of game. They don't take it serious. So what I do, when the baby's born, I not only put that baby on mom's chest, I put that baby on dad's chest too. I want him to understand that this belongs to you as well. You are responsible for this life as well. And I see hospitals, they always want the mother to hold the baby, and that's fine. But dad needs to understand that he is responsible too.
Well, thank God that the
And
dad is there, because if you seen what I seen, these women are
a
going
lot of
in
times,
it, calling them on the phone, and the man ain't answering.
I know that I've seen that too, and that's sad. But those who are there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just like a she's a spectacle or anything.
Yeah.
When they are there, I think we need to make them involved.
Yeah,
But
of
I
course.
really believe that women who are single mothers, we can't teach men to be men, quote unquote, but we
Yeah.
can teach them how to respect women.
Yeah.
And that's why I think when we lose that, I know everybody say, well, you need a father. Yes, but if he's not there, what do?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to take the role and say, hey, I can't play football with you. I can't play basketball. I can't do those things with you, but I can teach you how to respect women. But
Yeah.
again, a lot of times these women don't even know how to be respected because they let certain type of men mistreat them, and their children see this. So a lot of times as adults, we have to look at how we are being treated in front of our children,
Yeah.
because they look at,
Yeah.
they follow what they see, and not a lot
Yeah.
of times not what you tell them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of problems in our community. There's a lot of problems in our community. A lot. And
Hmm.
I don't know what it's going to take to turn this around, because a lot of these channels, they focus on criticizing men, and women need some wake up calls ourselves. Women, we have got to wake up to our patterns, habits, behaviors, our toxicity, the things that we're doing that need to be shifted. We have got to wake up. We've got to wake up.
Oh, absolutely. But I think I think so many things influence young people today. Music,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not a lot of the parents. They don't, because if your parents are working, they're at work most of the time. You're in school, your peers, what you see on TV. I think we have to change what our kids are seeing. Before the internet, before all the TVs, we were at home, we did stuff, we read, we did a lot of different things to keep our minds active. And I think we have gotten away from that. And,
Mm.
I think there has to be a change in our music, how black women are objectified in rap music. I don't know any other culture, no other culture, do they sing about anything negative about their women. I don't know one.
Mm-mm.
I don't hear any country song calling their women out of their names.
No,
We
no.
have to stop that,
Well, the
and then,
problem is that there are people who are making money off of our death and demise. And there's a lot of
yeah,
ignorant people being given a microphone to sing about that death and demise.
oh, absolutely. And it's sad because it's the poor young guys who get into this industry, and they want fame, you know, they want all of this fame, and they think they look good, and they don't understand how they're degrading themselves, but it all starts at home. It all starts at home. And until
Yeah.
we as parents take control, a little bit more control, and sometimes working a lot, I've done it, I'm guilty, I worked a lot, you know, wasn't at home, but I raised my daughter the best that I could.
Yeah.
She graduated college, she has 2 degrees, she's preparing for law school. It was tough, but guess what? I can't get back the time that I didn't give her,
Yeah.
because she missed that time. I gave her
Yeah.
all the physical things you can have, but where was I? And
Yeah.
sometimes kids don't need all of those other things. They need you.
Yeah.
We're so busy trying to have all these material things, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It's like these sport and dance lessons and music lessons are not going to pay for themselves. They want to go to summer camp every year. Summer camp is not going to pay for itself. So it's like, on the one hand, work is the necessity, especially if you live in a city with high rent like New York and California. So it's like,
Hmm.
on the one hand, you got to live, you got to work, you have to eat. You want your children to be able to, you want to go out with your kids, you want to have vacations, you want to do these things, and you have to work in order to do those things, but then your children also need you. But so it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because there is, what is the happy median? What's the happy median?
I I mean, I know we have to work, but sometimes I think we overwork.
Mm.
And I know for me, sometimes I worked a lot because it was hard being a single parent. Sometimes I wanted to be at work instead of home,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
because it was stressful being a single parent.
Yeah, I mean, no respite, no break. 24
Right.
hour day job. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, I mean, we have to figure a way of making men more accountable and responsible, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything against a young man if he decides he has so many children to get a vasectomy. It's always the woman who has to do something to her body. A vasectomy is really easy and quick.
Yeah, and it's
You
reversible.
know, exactly, it's
When
reversible.
I
You know,
mentioned when I mentioned vasectomies on all baby boys, people turned on me, and they were acting crazy. I really, because listen, they give circumcision to baby boys. It's the
exactly,
male orgasm, and a circumcision
and
is
that's not
not
even
reversible.
necessary.
Male orgasm is the one that inseminates. So I
Exactly.
suggested it, because what does he need to be shooting a loaded gun for if he's not ready to become a father? Once he's ready to become a father, get the vasectomy reversed. And then, even if the vasectomy cannot be reversed, there needs to be some sort of program where they could just take the sperm from his balls, because he's still making sperm, and then inseminate that way. Like, if it like, there has to be some sort of fund. So, okay, so let's say worst comes to worst, then you get that in vitro paid for. But I think that all baby boys should have a vasectomy, personally. That's how I feel. Rather than a
And
circumcision.
I think
Roast me,
people
I don't
get
care.
mad at me
Roast
when
me. What'd you
if I
say?
was in charge of, like, I think some people got mad at me one time, like friends of mine. I said, you know what I think will change when we see all these young women having babies? Yeah, they have sex and these men are not unprotected. And now she's pregnant. She has to bear that because she's pregnant. He's not carrying a child. So we have to be more responsible for ourselves. And what I said one day, I said, you know what? If those who are on social services, if they were made to go to the clinic and get a shot, a IUD, or any of those things to get their check to prevent pregnancy, I bet you we would definitely have a low pregnancy rate for African American women. But then people are like, oh, all people human rights will be upset, and I'm like, you know what? What's wrong with them being on some type of a form of birth control? And sometimes, if it's an incentive, like I will give you more money, I feel like this. I'd rather give you more money on your check when you come back every 3 months to get your shot, as opposed to having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars when you become pregnant now on this baby who's now on the system too.
Yeah, but see, part of the thing that you're not really understanding is that this is part of the design. They need their preschool to prison pipeline. They need the labor force. They need the people who are going to work at a menial's pay. They need their supply, because if this was just, well-to-do people, or people who were doing well, then the prison industry would crumble. They just wouldn't be able to survive without the labor force. They need people to sweep floors and to work the lunchroom cafeteria behind the cart. They need people to do that. They need people to mop up the floors at the hospitals. They need all different types of workers, and it's up to you niggas to keep producing the workforce. Excuse my language. But that's what they
Mm-hmm.
need. They need low income people to do menial jobs. That's what they need. And they need to fill up these prisons. This is why they don't care to get birth control for people. They don't care to have any of these lessons. They don't even want to teach sex ed in school anymore. So they know what they're doing. They know what
I
they're
know. I mean,
doing.
this is designed to do this, but we have to see what the system is designed to do, and we have to do something different. There's a lot. There's so many rich Black people out here that we don't even know about, and I'm thinking we can have our own schools. We can do things. We just don't. We get lost in this. I don't know, trying to be like the other people, and forget about our own. You know, we have to
Mm,
make a difference for our community. We
mm.
have to. Because
What
we're
community
lost.
really? Think about it. What community are you talking about? What community? There's so many different
When
people with so many different
well,
agendas.
I, well, let's say the Europeans, white people, they control this. Okay, for any other culture, I'm not really concerned about. I'm talking about the culture that runs this United States of America, pretty much run the world,
Mm-hmm.
is white people, and I feel like we know that. I understand slavery. We can't keep blaming slavery. We just can't, because it becomes a crutch, and we'll never learn to walk. So at some point, we got to say, hey, we got to do what we have to do. I know it's hard. It's not easy at all. I grew up. It was tough. I grew up in foster care. I did, but you know what? I was always taught that just because you come from the ghetto, the ghetto was not inside of me. It was just an environment. So we have to have a different mindset, and we have to change that. We have to start, people who made it come back and mentor the little ones. It may be too late for the older ones, like the adults. It may be
Yeah.
harder, but when you have to try to mentor the younger ones, let them have some type of positive role models in
Yeah.
the schools, after school, something,
Yeah.
and
You
then
know
we
what? I
have to
haven't
do it. I mean,
mentored in quite a few years. Are you mentoring?
not right now, but I do. I used to. I
Yeah, yeah,
tried.
me too, me
And
too.
some,
I think
the
right before the
part is,
pandemic, I was in a
I wanted
program
to,
mentoring in 2019, but then the pandemic came.
right, I tried to recently, I called, I don't know if you heard of Covenant House.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was in Covenant House years ago. And I said I wanted to come back there and talk to the young people. And this was over 20 something years ago that I was
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, and they act like they don't even want you to come back and try to talk to anybody.
What do
I'm
you
like,
mean?
oh, okay. I called them like, hey, I was there back in '89, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I do this. I'm an investor. I would love to come back and talk to them and maybe be a mentor. They're like, oh, well, we don't do that anymore. They don't even let you go to what they call rites of passage and visit with them anymore. When I was in it, you had that. You had a mentor. They don't have that anymore. I know things change. They said they changed.
Call a different location because you said you're located where?
I'm in Virginia, but I had called to go back to New York, where the main one was in New
Okay.
York, kind of First Street, I think.
I found,
Um,
you know what? I found that the Covenant House in New York is a little strange in terms of reaching back out. I call the one in Virginia if they have one in Virginia. I've yeah, but with the Covenant House, you have to get around. You have to call. I don't know. I have found that the one in New York is a little strange. L.A. is a little more open. I've gone through the volunteer program at the one in Los Angeles, but New York, I
okay.
actually I spoke at the one in New York years ago, but this was when I first got on YouTube, somewhere between 2008 2011, before TKO Skin. I spoke and I
Mhm.
did some, and the need is great. So,
Mhm.
because I did a lesson on self love at Covenant House, and the young ladies, like some of the things I was saying, it was their very first time hearing it. First time hearing it. And
Mhm.
so like even just simple ideas about boundaries were just really kind of
Mhm.
foreign to them. So the need is definitely there. If you know, if you want, you can reach out to me on my website and we can try again together, because
Okay.
I have spoken at the one in New York. I have personally. And it was difficult to get in to do that. And this was years ago. So I don't know what it's like now, but we can definitely try again and see and exchange phone numbers and stuff like that. But there's definitely programs that need speakers. They
Mhm.
need speakers to come by.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually called Covenant House today. I had the number to a person, and I asked to come, and I said I was going to come in April because I'm in Georgia right now renovating a property. And he said, well, you can come to the new location. They built, I guess, a new location, and he said you can come there and I can show you around. I'm thinking I just don't want to go and see what, like the new location. I want to talk to the residents. So I asked him. I said, well, what about rites of passage? He's like, oh well, we don't allow people to interact with them. He said we've kind of changed things. The program, they changed the program. So I mean, the kids are not like in some type of protective custody. So I don't understand why like you can't go and talk to them.
Yeah,
You
but you
know.
know
So
what?
I'm like, oh,
So listen, the need is great, and there are many
mhm,
other programs. Don't get stuck on Covenant House if they're not going to be the right avenue. There's a lot of at-risk youth who need to be
mhm,
able to have people to come by and speak to them. And as long as you set the intention, it may look different than you had imagined. It may not be a Covenant House. It may be someplace else. You know,
mhm,
I wanted to nonetheless, what I did was I searched, I did some internet searches, because there's a lot of places who are doing a lot of volunteer work for young adults, for girls, for at-risk youth, at-risk teens. You just have to think,
mhm.
what is your desired group to assist? And then search
My
for,
group,
huh?
I would say my desired group that I would love to help are, since me being a nurse practitioner and my main thing was a labor and delivery nurse, was to open up a group home for pregnant teens and have education and all that stuff for them. But there's a lot of red tape to that. But ultimately, young women, young pregnant women is like the
Yeah,
the population that I really.
so why don't you do this, right?
Hmm.
Um, if you call a shelter, because you know there are shelters for pregnant teens, right? These
Hmm.
shelters they have grants that keep the shelters open. So if you find out,
Hmm.
so what you got to do is you have to be a little creative, right? So as long as you've identified the group that you want to assist, you have to
Hmm.
find out who are the people who are writing the checks. And these people,
Hmm.
like these angel investors and people like that, they are connected to different organizations that they also assist. And then what you have to do is you have to, if you search for annual event for certain types of industry, right, you will find
Hmm.
out who is sponsoring these coalitions, and you just
Hmm.
go up the ranks. You talk to corporate, you find out who is the decision maker, and you find out which charities they are participating in. And then you can find a network where you just go around and you just talk in different areas. I was able to find oh, I was able to, because you know what, I would volunteer with different organizations each year. So I did some autism volunteer work in
Hmm.
2017, 2018. Then in 2019, I worked with at-risk young ladies in a program, and I found these people by doing a Google search. I forgot what it is that I searched for, and I haven't looked because the pandemic came right after 2019 ended. And so we're just coming out of it now. And this phone call reminds me that it's been a while since I volunteered, and I need to volunteer again. But if you search for these annual events, right? Like if you search for pregnant teen shelter annual meeting and stuff like that, you just have to be
Hmm.
creative. You have to be creative with your search, and you have to call, and you have to let people know what you want. You need to be like,
Mm-hmm.
hi, I'm a nurse practitioner, and you have to already say that this is what you talk about. And I talk to
Mm-hmm.
teen mothers about XYZ. And I volunteer once a year, and I want to come in and can you direct me to a person who can help me? And so you have to
Mm-hmm.
let them know what you want. So you're focused on Covenant House. You need to branch out and find out where your girls are, because I listen, I walk past, these shelters all the time, and you know that they're shelters because there's a lot of pregnant young people gathered around outside, right? And so they're
Mm-hmm.
shelters. So the need is there. There are girls out there who are not hearing your message because you haven't called.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm definitely going to do, because where I'm in Stafford, Virginia, there's like they don't have a lot of programs for young teens, even anything for like homeless teenagers. Because I see that some of them on the street. So certain areas have better programs, but I just got to search them and see. But I know they don't have any where I live at,
So
and
I
that's
just
kind of.
did I just did a search for Stafford, Virginia homeless teens, and there is Thurman Homeless Shelter in Stafford County, Virginia.
What's it
Um
called?
so even on Yelp, they have the 10 best homeless shelters in Stafford County, Virginia. So do a search, and you know what? Listen, there's a place called Stafford Hope.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if is that just a teen shelter, or
I
is that a
listen,
shelter for?
this is what I'm saying. You have got to call. One of the things that you're not understanding is that these people, they are in a network. They work with grants. They know other people in other sectors. And there's a lot of need, and there are people who will hire you, but you have to call and
Mm-hmm.
call the homeless shelter and say, "Listen, I'm looking to volunteer or go do a talk at a homeless shelter for teens. Please direct
Mm-hmm.
me." Find out who writes the grant for their program. Can everybody write this down? I want everybody to go grab a pen. Please, you on the telephone with me. I forgot your name. Stephanie, is it?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie, write this down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do a
Mm-hmm.
search for the type of person you want to help. Do a
Mm-hmm.
search for your area. And the first thing that comes up on Google, call them and tell them,
Okay.
listen, I do a talk for XYZ, right? And ask
Mm-hmm.
them who they can direct you to, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they know other people in the social service network who they will direct you to. I spent about 3 weeks just making phone calls, just getting directed from one place to another, to another, to another, until I found the at risk teens that I was looking for. And so you
Mm-hmm.
have to just make phone calls. Understand that these people know other people who are in the social services field. So you just have to do a Google search. So, like, what I would do is I see Northern Virginia Homeless Shelter, right? I would
Mm-hmm.
call them tomorrow and I'd say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to your director. What's your director's name?" And they're going to be like, "Oh, the director's name is XYZ," right? So then you're like, "Okay, and you say, "How do I get in touch? Is it best to get in touch with them via email or leave a voicemail?" They're going to tell you the best way to get in touch with them. You write them an
Mm-hmm.
email or you call them and you say, "Hi, my name is Stephanie Hartford, and I do a talk for pregnant at-risk teens. Can you let me know where in Stafford, Virginia, is there a homeless shelter for pregnant teens?" And so they're going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, you know what? I don't know, but let me talk to the executive director. What's your phone number? I'm going to give you a call back. And you say, yeah. So you're like, you know what? Can I just follow up with you with an email just so you have my phone number and you have my contact information so that if I don't hear back from you in, let's say, 2 days, then it's okay if I send you an email or call you again. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, 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 of course, of course. You might not hear back from them in 2 days, but you've already set the standard that you're going to call them back or send them an email. And then what you do is you call them back or you send them an email and you say, hey, you know what? We spoke on the phone the other day. I'm just following up to see if you have that list for the homeless shelter for at-risk teens because blah, 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 blah. And then you just follow up and then they're going to send you to somebody else because if you call them 2 or 3 times, they're going to be like, oh, let me get her to the right place. So yeah, so you just have to do it that way. You just have to do it that way.
Mhm. Mhm. I definitely will. I definitely will.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So you just stay on it. Just keep in your heart why it is that you're doing it so that that way you maintain the internal gumption that you need to be able to continue forward with your phone calls. Set aside a certain amount of time to call each day. So put it on your calendar and just be like, okay, I'm going to spend half an hour making phone calls and sending emails, right? And some people are
Mhm.
saying you probably need to check Alexandria, Virginia, DC, or PG County, Maryland. So it's like you have to let it be known what it is that you want to do, and people will help you. They will help you because they need volunteers. You come in to talk and help these people out for free. Like one of the things that you have to understand is that people who are working in this sector, they're working in this sector for the love of it. They're working because they
Mhm.
have a passion about it. And so if you want to
Mhm.
come and help these people that they are passionate about, they want you to come and help. I'm telling you because every year I would volunteer with a different organization. I would take up a cause and I would take up that cause for the entire year. And then I'd start thinking about what it is that who I want to work with. So at-risk pregnant teens actually sounds like a great cause. I need to think, who am I going to work with this 2023? So yes, absolutely. Do not give up and don't be shy. Don't be shy. Go do it. Do it and stay on top of it. Okay?
Mhm. Can I just say something? Someone said, "Oh, she's educated. She should know that." There's a lot of educated people out there that don't know this because if they did, we wouldn't have so many at risk youth. So I think so. Don't assume because someone's educated
I don't
in a
know.
certain
Listen,
field.
honey, I don't know.
They,
I don't know if that is an insecurity of yours or not. Um,
mhm.
I you stay focused on what it is that you need to do. Whether or not people
Mhm.
feel that you're educated or not educated or whatever, listen, there's a lot of people out there who they themselves are embarrassed to ask. They
Mhm.
hold it inside. They're embarrassed to ask. They don't ask questions. They don't put themselves out there because they don't want to look stupid, so they mock other people. It's just like the fat person who's making fat jokes at other people. It's because they have that internal insecurity. It's like the dark-skinned person who's talking about a dark woman bring a dark night. They have that insecurity on the inside. Do not worry about those people and whatever nonsense it is that they're going through. You took the notes, right? You're going to make some phone calls tomorrow, right? That's really all that
That's
matters. At the end
what
of the
Monday
day,
morning.
mm-hmm. So thank you so much. I appreciate you
Thank you.
calling
And
in and this question was an amazing question to help other people because now other people know how to do this. Cuz I learned this just by trial and error. I learned it by trial and error
mhm.
and you really cannot give up. You just have to continue to push forward. Just get in touch with the directors and then just go up from there. All right, Ma. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. Thank
All right
you.
then. All
Okay.
right, bye-bye. Yes, I am super, super tired right now. I'm going to read the apples and then I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to call it a night. All right, so let me refresh these apples and get these last few apples read. So, all right. Mm. So we have Danny who sends in 444 for support, and Paulina who sends $2 and says, I truly think he's doing this for clickbait clout. Yeah, I think so too.